Hey, how's it going? So I get into this a little late, kind of fell asleep, thought I'd take a little nap. 4 hours later, 3 hours later, whatever it is. Hi. So I pulled 2 cards today, and okay, you can just go over here and be quiet. And the first card I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. This beautiful guy right here, without the glare, please. Oh, there we go. And I pulled number 22. And 22, can I just say, is I have my numbers that I like, and one of them that comes up quite often is 222. And also 22 works pretty good. Never mind. The 2 and 2 is 4, and that is a balance and stability. Well, I mean, stability, foundations. So, okay, and the card, the name of the card is Fool's Embrace, and the subtitle is Transmuting Pain. So, wow, look at this person. I'm just gonna say that the globe, the orb in the background, the orange thing is like just set dressing, and to make the figure in the illustration, I just remembered I don't have my thingy. Here it is. So when I was looking at this card, I noticed that the figure seems to have, I don't know, you can't really see it in this light, I don't know why, but I thought it was just around their face, and it was coming down from like below the hairline where all this black pointy crown looking business is happening. But here, like underneath this area, there's a very light translucent, like, I'm not even sure what the heck it's supposed to be, but there's a pentagonal grid pattern. It's really faint to see. I mean, I can't see it that well when the light is right, but I'll tell you that sort of overlaid on the grid pattern, there are runes, like, I keep wanting to say Celtic runes, but, like Viking runes. And I wish I would have looked up which ones those are before I started talking about them, but I didn't, so, just take my word for it. But what I also noticed is that this pointy business on the head, that I wasn't sure what to think of it, but I've come to think of it as something finally, like it has meaning. But still talking about this other stuff, I don't know how much better I can show you that, even if the light was better. But it also has like pointed upsproutings that go around the circumference of it, like a crown. That's like, it's also sort of crenellated, and that's a word I know from a feature of castles, but it's doing the same thing. And like in a castle, up along like the upper walls, the wall will have, like, say the line goes across like this, and then it'll have like these deals that pop up at intervals, and those are the crenellations. So I hope that made sense, especially since you can't see what I'm talking about. Like, I can barely see it now. This I mean, I can see it if I turn it and mess with it, but that's not gonna work for you. And also, this light compared to the sunlight when I was looking at it hours ago produces a lot of glare. But anyway, I thought that cleared, like at first I thought it was like a netting or something, but I thought it was just around the head, and then I noticed that it actually extends over the body. It's harder to see it in this area, but it continues down from the face, and I noticed it on the shoulders and this area, and then even through here slightly. So it's like a field almost around them. I was gonna say shield, but it's more like a field. Same-ish. And they're very burnt, you know, very dark. And then also, I will adjust these now. I think what that is since the subtitle here is transmuting pain, I think this is I had the word and then it ran away, but this is like an illustration of the darkness of them and the points of them having taken in the pain and I guess ingested it in a way. And then as it comes out, processed through this body, it comes out black like soot and pointy. But that's like the residue of the process, because I feel like even though it doesn't show it, this person, once they sort of ingest all of the pain of, let's just say it's my pain, a representation, that was the word I was looking for. Let's just say it's a representation of my personal pain. So whatever that may be, it's taking it in and it's processed it and it's coming out now from its pores as like blackness, and you know, it's pain, so it's got pains. the little stabby pointy things are that coming out processed. But the thing is, I feel like once that is done, like once all of the blackness has come out of the inner body, all they have to do is stand up or stretch out and extend their limbs, and all of that black dustiness is going to fall off and fall away, as will this. So it's really severe looking, but I feel like it's, you know, mid-process. Let's see what the guidebook has to say. Fool's embrace. Transmuting pain, allowing life to love you, the experience of both and. The pain of life is sometimes unbearable. When we're in it, we think that pain, that loss, that betrayal will always be woven through our continuity of existence. We're kept hostage by the way we identify with the pain and what we make it mean. If we let it, it becomes embedded or etched into us like a tattoo. Well, you know, this part about the pain, you know, whatever degree that it's in, we feel like it's going to be with us forever. You know, like in the midst of it, you know. But we also know that eventually that time is going to pass. That feeling of pain is not going to hurt us as badly over time, and it'll get to a point where it doesn't hurt at all. But it's a painstaking process. And you kind of got to burn through the feeling, especially if it's making you just feel useless and terrible, because pain and grief can do that to you, make you kind of want to give up on the living part of life and just wallow in the experience of the pain. You don't want to do that for too long, because the black outer coating might get so thick when you're done processing you're barely able to move and shake it off. Just a thought. No matter where on the spectrum of pain you find yourself now, whether it be mild discomfort, I always do that. Like, I guess I think that should be discomfort. Anyway, be it mild disappointment or searing loss, seared, burnt. You know, sometimes we feel like that. It's time to make peace with it. Befriend it rather than resisting it, running from it or judging it as bad or unfair or hostile. I don't know, maybe that, I don't disagree with that assessment, but I'm wondering if, yeah, like, can we get through all of this without judging it and like taking on that pain life, you know, like just hanging on to it forever. And I have to say, like, recently I finally gave up some stuff that I've been carrying around forever, because I was like waiting for things to resolve themselves in a different way, and then it's like it took so long to realize for things to resolve, it had to start with me letting go of some things and forgiving some things, and then having to forgive myself for hanging on to it for so long, for making the healing take forever. And I would say it definitely has held me back in certain ways. So not good to hang on to that pain forever. Transmute that. So, I mean, even if you feel like this for a while, if you go ahead and process it and let the process be done and not hang on to it forever, like waiting for an apology or waiting for an explanation from, if it's to do with people, whomever that was. And it's like, you have to realize that it's that thing again where we're all here just doing what we're doing, and it's not to or against each other, it's for each other. It's all part of the tapestry of whatever's happening at any given moment. Like, it never ends. It's always going on, this process of either getting the pain, being pained by something, getting hurt, and then cycling through that process of feeling it. And it doesn't always happen super quick, but it doesn't need to take decades either. You know, you could end up encrusted so that you can hardly move, and that's a whole nother process you got to get through. And isn't once through this enough? Like, how many times do you have to drag yourself through the pain? Let me see, 37.4 million. And then I woke up. Anyway, can you see the gift that is here? You know, because even when you go through bad stuff, there's something, once you get over it, of value that you can then reflect upon and process that. But that's a whole other process of processing, because at that point, you would have dropped all of the pain that you have transmuted and let that crust fall away. Surrendering to the fool's embrace, allowing the truth to envelop you in love and compassion. What if you can learn something amazing from this? What is truly yours will not pass you by. Something better and perfect for you is waiting elsewhere. If you could come to terms with the liberation and freedom inherent in loss, your broken heart might open you up to a greater sense of humanity and compassion. As in the narrative of tarot, the fool will be at the beginning of your life's adventures, and at the end, when you've integrated all the wisdom you've accumulated along the journey. He will never let you down or lie to you. He will, however, teach you how to revel in both the beauty and desperation of life. Both/and. This and that will always be true. Yeah. Remember, the pearl can't be created without the gritty sand causing discomfort and acting as a catalyst in the oyster. So even if everything's going along hunky-dory, that you can't have that for too long, because I guess that's not exciting and fun in terms of who we are when we're not on Earth and in these physical forms. Because, you know, I've talked about this before. We come here and we're born in all of that. Like, all of that actually happens, but it's not our actual reality. There's so many names for this planet and why we're here on it, like school and things like that, but it's not our actual us. Which is a strange thing to think of, and it's very intricate and complex, and I'm most certainly not going to go into it all here, but it can be learned of. I have spoken of it more. Your pearl is discovered in radical acceptance that everything has value, including the times you're not having fun in life. And I'm being light about it, but it could be anywhere from, you know, a bullied child to murder or long-term abuse or short-term abuse. Just, you know, whatever is not like good and happy and fun. So there's a spectrum. It could be small or it could be a big fat major horrible deal. And even the words we use to define those times, they're so like hyperbolic. But I mean, in terms of what I'm talking about there, I started talking about it. I said I wasn't gonna, but we're playing roles, playing a game. We're at school, we're learning. So all of this is kind of like pretend, but really intense pretend. Process that. I don't know. However you will. I'll leave that to you. All is well now and will be well. Remember that. Right now in this moment, all is well. And when it goes south, it will be. You might have to go through some stuff, but it'll come back around to being good again, because that's what happens in life. Remember that today as you feel the fool's embrace. So I'm gonna interrupt myself here to talk about some stuff that I saw today, and it was our government in the U.S., our House of Representatives, chewing its own leg off, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but they elected a Speaker of the House, which, look that up. I'm not going to try to explain that to people that don't know what it is, because I know what it is, and I'm not sure that I could properly explain it except to say that they are the master of ceremonies when it comes to running the Senate, you know. Sorry, that's the best I can do just briefly, but the person that is in there now was elected by one of our two parties, and that would be, excuse me, that would be the Republican Party. And while I was watching them, they elected, I mean, this is over a period of time, so I'm going to get to today, but they elected the guy, and they elected him with all these caveats in place, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me why he would agree to this. I can't believe, like, just the power of the position where he's supposed to be the leader of the House. He isn't. He's led around by his nose by the rest of his party, which is in division. As I said, it's chewing its own foot off. But as I was watching it, I had the thought that all of these people that made this deal with the caveats with the Speaker of the House, and just generally, there's a group of them, of Congress people, representatives of states, and they, a certain number of them, are loud and out front basically bollocksing up the works. They just spend their time sort of spewing negativity and saying bad things about people, and making judgments on their character. And the whole time they're doing this, like every time I hear them start talking, I think two things. And the first thing is, their handlers must be so happy with them. And when I say their handlers, I mean whoever they're working for, because it's not for this country. In fact, you can see them do what they do and say what they say, and see that very little of it is in favor of or helpful to this country. In fact, the way that they're acting right now, when a major piece of political business needs to be worked out and then, signed into law and things, and that has to do with our budget. And these people are not in a hurry to deal with that. They're having all these weird personal fights, and I just kept thinking, it's really hard to hear what any of them are saying over the noise of all of the pots calling the kettles black. And I don't think I have to explain that much. If you know what pots and kettles and blackness is about, you can just apply that to watching them, seeing what they do and what they say, because it seems to me it's more helpful to our enemies than it is to us. And isn't that a thought? Why would you do that? I don't know how money and power could make me want to tank my own country, but for some people that works. So anyway, back to the card reading. I pulled a second card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and it was Cosmic Egg. And you can see that there's a serpent wrapped around this egg, and the egg has all these different colors, and you know what they're not doing is clashing. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like the egg is protection of forces that are not trying to fight, not trying to clash with each other, and trying to harmonize. And that could be in my own U.S. government, or it could be any of the ones in the world that are having their validity questioned by their population, and where there's strikes going on, and like upset to the status quo, basically. I'm going to read what I guess I need to unlock what the book says about the cosmic egg. And usually the animals on these cards are within an earth element: air, water, fire, earth. These with the circles are always, they're in the spirit section of the book, so they're kind of special messages. And look at I don't know if you can see it, but the circle at the very top is sort of rainbow reflective. Oh, there, you can kind of see it there. Okay. Cosmic Egg, where are you? There it is. Oh, it's the last one. Completion and harmony. Well, this is near completion. All they have to do is finish processing whatever's still left in there, scrape the bottom of the barrel, then stand up and shake it off. The infinite within the finite. Well, oh man, that's like a mind-blowing concept. And I feel like that's a way of saying traveling without physically going anywhere, like astral plane traveling, where you're in some state of relaxation and unconsciousness physically, but everything else, since the physical stuff is turned on and left on auto, that gives you more power and intensity to dwell in that astral plane. Okay. The Cosmic Egg is the final card in the Journey of the Animal Spirit deck. and it represents the unfolding of cosmic consciousness. This state emerges after we have tread the path for quite some time, and through self-effort and grace we experience. Hold on. This state emerges after we have tread the path for quite some time, and through self-effort and grace we experience self-realization. Wow, I can't believe I had to start at the beginning for that to sound right, and also read right. This state emerges after we have tread the path. I already said that. A sense of contentment and oneness spontaneously arises within us, and the veils within our self-limiting beliefs are lifted. When the essence of the cosmic egg has not been activated, we may feel as if we will never get there, or that we travel alone, disconnected from others. Even if our encounter with this card is brief, appearing as a momentary glimmer or flash of interconnectedness, its potent energy stays with us. We remember that connection when we remember it and feel it. That connection of, oh wait, we're a bunch of people pretending here. Let's keep that in mind and remember, oh yeah, we actually know each other really well outside of this medium, this planet, this existence. When we drop the pretense and our real actual selves, well, that could be more mind-blowing than the population realizing that. It could be more mind-blowing than discovering that, oh, it's not plugged in. It's more mind-blowing than discovering your light's not plugged in. More mind-blowing than discovering aliens are a real thing. Oh, that was something else I saw today. Was they announced on The View the finding of the Mexican Congress saw in Mexico, to be clear. Will you come on? We're presented with these remains from Peru, and even though the guy who brought them to the Congress to view, to prove their authenticity, because they'd already been through the battery of biological testing, and what was discovered was, just like the Atacama figure that was even smaller statured than these things. These beings look to be about 2.5 feet high in height, very diminutive. One had a baby, an a fetus, and part of the speculation, because there always is, or just plain disbelief, is that this person that presented these remains that were examined and proved to be biological but not of anything of human, he has presented some things that have since been debunked, but not everything. So, as always with these things, first you gotta find, like, what did they get wrong? You know, what can we say they're lying about, or for some reason bringing this to everyone's attention to just play with us. But this person, I think, is just a sincere seeker. And the other problem that they had with these remains, like, first they were like, oh, they look fake. Well, how do you know what a real one looks like, though? I mean, it's just a funny thing. And they were saying, oh, it looks too much like E.T., the extraterrestrial. Like, why would the aliens, you know, like, make themselves look like a space movie? And I'm like, no, you got it backwards. It's not that they copied our movies copied them. I have talked about this. At any set where there is like a military stuff or space stuff, there's going to be representatives from the military, from our government, on these sets, and they speculate over everything and make sure that stuff they don't want to get out doesn't get out, and stuff they do want to get out does get out. So as far as the aliens copying our movies, it's like, no, you have that backwards. We're actually See, this is something that I talk about a lot too, because I know there's a lot of people out there waiting for disclosure from the government or somebody about the actual existence of extraterrestrials. Well, the thing is, if they've been working with us for many decades with our government, we've found crashed ships, and sometimes they were occupied and sometimes they weren't killed by the crash. So we've communicated with them that way. They've approached us in many other ways on many other platforms. Look up Valiant Thor and see about that representative from Venus. And you go ahead and laugh, but you ain't gonna be laughing soon. Like, it may not be until your grandkids come along. But here's my favorite part. They didn't want to believe it. The hostesses, the hosts of The View. No one could credit any of it for the reasons I said, but it's like, how do you know how do you know it's fake? Do you actually know what a real one looks like? Do tell, man. But here's the shocker. We're aliens. Every one of us walking around here, we're of alien stock, or we're, in other words, like some sort of hybrid, or we're just full-on aliens. But we have forgotten that about ourselves in the midst of all of this pretending. And pretension, by the way. Oh, it doesn't look like a real alien. Oh, why did they steal? I was like, really? But see, for one thing, I'm in my house talking to myself, and so they cannot hear me. I mean, in a way they can, but that's like way woo-woo, so I'm not gonna even go into that. But it doesn't matter if they can hear me or not, because these things for me are real, and I know that for parts of our government, they're real. That's not a thought or a pretense at all. It's a real thing. So there are a lot of people that want disclosure out there, and my thing is, because of the factor with the alien that they just found that is apparently biologically real, we think that it's fake, but we have it backwards. Really, I think I lost what I was gonna say. But oh, the people wanting disclosure, movies like E.T. and even Alien, or even Dave, the one with Seth Rogen, which it's a comedy, but if you watch it, there's so much in it that I feel like, wow, that could just be true. I mean, laughs, I was gonna say laughs aside, but laughs not aside, because everything is not serious in science. Like, stuff in life happens, and even if it's really sad and horrible feeling, there are moments when you're in that where you're just laughing. So back to the alien stuff, is there are a lot of people that have been after disclosure and wanting disclosure for years, and my thing is, yes, but you've been having exposure probably your whole life in medium, like film, book, television, comic book, whatever it is. It's always there. It's never ending, and we're just like, oh, haha, it's a movie, it's a thing. It's like, no, it is, and it's been softened up and made fiction, but maybe that's been your disclosure the whole time, and that's why I say it's been exposure, and stop waiting for disclosure, because it's been happening your whole life. But that's just my thought. Anyway, this is us dealing with the stuff we can face, that we can deal with. And again, going through it and processing it, and everyone's going to go at their own rate of speed to do this, but I wonder if we don't get so wrapped up, and it has to do with our amnesia about who we are and where we came from, all the coating of soot and the processing of all of the toxic feelings and that. I guess, make it hard for us to focus and see exposure right in front of our faces about the nature of us, really. Because here's an obvious hint. What are some of our main components? Minerals and things that have come from off planet. They're here on this planet, but they come from off planet. And so I think it's interesting that many of our components as human beings are made of these space stuff ingredients. What do you think other aliens are made of? Do you know what those look like too? Do you know what their components are too? People that are all, they don't look like real aliens. Again, tell me all about the real ones and what they look like. I just think we're funny people. But, you know, eventually we're going to come around, because speaking of astral travel, every night we all do it, and then we forget all about it when we wake up. Isn't that awesome? I don't know. There's some sense to that. It doesn't make much right now to me, but no one asked my opinion. Anyway, that's been your spacey report for the day. Thank you and good night. Where is the switch?